Atlantis, everybody knows this place. It was first mentioned by Greek philosopher Plato, and it was maybe fictional. Plato said the founders of Atlantis was half god, half human. It was said to be a utopian civilization and be a great naval power, and that their city was full of abundant gold and precious minerals and rare animals. But some people really think it was the Eye of the Sahara, but did it actually exist? 52 Herts Whale. This was a sound heard between 1989 and 2004, and it came from a single source broadcasting a frequency between 50 and 52 hertz. What's weird about this is they assumed that a whale was making this noise. However, the creature producing the noise was making around a 50 hertz sound, whereas normal whales produce between 10 and 39 hertz, which is really sad because it's too low for humans to hear and it's too high for whales to hear, so we assume that the whale has been completely alone for its entire life, not able to contact other whales. Its movements correspond with whale migrations in the area, but nobody has seen it for sure. So it could actually be a monster. Bimini Road is an area located between the Bahamas and Miami on the Bimini Islands, where there are these large square blocks that are in a perfectly straight line, and people refer to it as the Bimini Road. What's crazy is there's over a half a mile of this road. It's just a bunch of stones in a straight line, and people say that it was part of some sort of ancient road system, perhaps, maybe a lost colony, or a lost continent, or the lost continent of Atlantis, or it's just evidence from some sort of civilization that existed before water levels rose, which would be crazy because it would be roughly 2,000 years old. Cuba Pyramids. This one is really crazy. Around 2 decades ago, they discovered these structures using sonar that were 2,000 feet below the surface off the coast of Cuba. Pictures were taken that looks really compelling that it's real. There's like these 2 or 3 large pyramids, and then there's like square looking room areas. I mean, it really looks like a real place that was actually a civilization. But I mean, it would be nearly impossible for this to have been a civilization unless there's like a huge part of history we have no idea about, which, I mean, there is. Geologists say that if this was a sunken city, it would have taken over 50,000 years to have gotten to that depth. So they would have had to have been an extremely advanced civilization that was in the wrong time and in the wrong place. Phantom Islands, these are islands that were once somewhere but are no longer, or they never were. Examples are Lumeria, Thule, and even Bermeja, which there's this conspiracy about how like the CIA came in and bombed Bermeja Island out of existence to take away Mexico's oil rights in that area, which is just a conspiracy, extremely unlikely that they could have ever pulled that off. Anyways, all these islands have either been on a map, or they've sunken into the ocean, or they never existed at all and people thought they were there, but they weren't. Seafloor holes. Back in 2022, this line of holes appeared on the ocean floor 8,000 feet deep. And what's interesting is back in 2004, a similar group of holes were found in the same area in the mid-Atlantic ridge. Scientists don't know how they are formed. Some people think they're just hydrothermal vents where like heated fluid rises up out of the ground and makes the holes, where others hypothesize that it's just like a little creature that digs down into the sand and leaves them, but it's probably just Cthulhu. The black carpet. This is an ocean cryptid that is described by divers to be over 1,000 feet long. It's said to look like a group of jet black microorganisms with like little feelers like a jellyfish. People theorize that if the black carpet actually is real, then it's related to like the single-celled organism that lived billions of years ago in the ocean. Underwater UFOs. Keep in mind, if anything says UFO, it just means unidentified flying object. However, there are a lot of instances where, like, the military or the Navy see something that they don't recognize flying through the air that goes into the ocean or that comes out of the ocean and then flies really fast. There's a lot of instances of underwater UFO things in the deepest lake in the world, Lake Baikal. Call of the Deep. This is a strange phenomenon where divers are diving at extreme depths and they all of a sudden like fall into a trance and then try to swim down, and then they swim down really far and die. There's multiple instances of this happening and they just swim down and are never seen again. A lot of people think that this is just caused by nitrogen narcosis, which is just something that makes you like feel drunk and confused. Pretty terrifying thought. Cosmic ocean. This is more of like a mythological concept that was like everything outside of Earth is a vast primordial water. Like everything up there is an ocean. But there's also more of a conspiratorial thing where people think that space is an ocean. And people who think this think that we are essentially trapped on Earth and we can't go past the firmament, which is like the atmosphere. And we tried to break the seal out of the atmosphere between Earth and the cosmic ocean by doing different things like testing nuclear weapons up in the atmosphere close to space, like Operation Fishbowl, where they're detonating those up really high, and they thought that maybe it was going to set fire to the entire atmosphere, but they didn't know, and they did it anyways. But it looked like a giant fishbowl when it blew up. Anyways, that's all of those. Thank you for watching, and follow for more.